This isn't a story of triumph. It's a story of what remains of a man once everything has been stripped away. Hope, gods, fear. It's a story of a will that has no voice, only a rasp. A courage that reeks of the beast and of stale blood. A blind instinct that spits in the face of Olympus, for it has nothing left to lose. The gods are used to prayers, but they don't know what to do when a man simply keeps walking, even when his eyes are scorched by the sun, and inside nothing remains but ash. Sand in my mouth. Tastes like ground brick. It grinds against my teeth, mixing with thick, salty spit. 9 times I returned to Mycenae, and each time Eurystheus's face grew more translucent, like a sun-dried fish bladder. Now he wanted color. Red. Living blood grazing where the sun plunges into the salt abyss, at the very edge of the world, where reality blurs into a mirage. Libya was endless. The air there isn't just hot, it's heavy. It has the weight of molten bronze pressing against your eyeballs. Every step is a battle with the globe itself, trying to drag you down into the dry, scorching dust. The horizon shivered, warping the cliffs, turning stones into ghostly giants mocking your thirst. Helios, a golden pupil, searing the mind. I remember the skin on the back of my neck cracking from the heat. It wasn't a hero's rage, it was the primal fury of a beast cornered by the light. My head spun. My fingers found the cold, almost alien smoothness of the bow. The wood felt too dry. It groaned under my hands like an old bone. The string, twisted from gut, bit into my fingertips, promising pain. I didn't think of the gods. I just wanted to knock that goddamn eye out of the sky. The arrow soared. Time congealed like black resin on a pine cut. I heard my own pulse, a loud, jagged thrumming in my ears that drowned out the whistling wind. 1 heartbeat, 2, silence. Then came the voice. It wasn't human. It was the roar of a mountain landslide, scalding and majestic. Helios didn't incinerate me. He was struck by this raw, savage defiance, the sheer nerve of a mortal, ready to pierce the heart of heaven with an iron tip. "You want to reach the edge of the world?" the god asked. His words scorched, but there was no malice, only wonder at a creature that knew no fear. "Then sail in my cup." He gave me his golden vessel, a massive chalice that smelled of ozone and evening damp. Sailing in the sun, with the ocean seething beneath you, feeling the movement of the abyss under a thin layer of gold. It's like sleeping in the womb of a fire beast, knowing it could wake and swallow you at any moment. It was that audacity which the god called courage that opened the gates to the west for me. There, where the earth crumbles under the pressure of 2 continents, I stopped. My shoulders burned. My back muscles bulged like a blacksmith's bellows, filling with leaden fatigue. I shoved my fingers into the cracks of the cliffs. The stone was coarse. It tore my nails, driving sharp shards of granite under the skin. I pushed them apart, not for glory, but because they stood in my way. Gibraltar is just a scar on the face of the world, carved by my bloodied fists. The pillars, monuments to my exhaustion. Beyond lay only mist, clinging to the skin like wet, unwashed wool. Erytheia smelled of raw meat, seaweed, and upturned earth. Orthus, a 2-headed stump of malice, bred in the belly of darkness, a spawn of Typhon himself. When he lunged from the fog without warning, I felt no fear. Only the weariness of having to kill something so hideous once again. His growl resonated in my lungs, vibrating in the empty cage of my ribs. I raised the club. 1 motion. The sound was dull, wet, like someone crushing an overripe gourd. Warm, sticky fluid splattered my sandals, filling the gaps between my toes, mixing with the dust of Erytheia. Then came Eurytion. A herdsman who thought a staff in his hand made him a warrior. He charged, and in his eyes I saw only a stupid, devoted loyalty to his three-bodied master. The fight was short and filthy. I felt the wood of my club meet his collarbone. The snap was dry, like breaking kindling in winter. The next blow caught his temple. Death on this island was mundane, stripped of epic speeches. Just a slumped body, the crunch of vertebrae, and a final breath into the mud, instantly swallowed by the surf. Geryon emerged from the damp dark like a mountain that had decided to go for a walk. 3 torsos fused into one solid knot of muscle. 6 arms, 6 shields, 3 heads breathing in unison, creating a single heavy rhythm. His footsteps made my internal organs shudder, as if they wanted to flee my body before my soul did. Time broke again, shattering into small, sharp fragments. I saw every bead of sweat rolling down his many chests, glistening on the skin like grease on a spit. I saw the skin tighten over his ribs as he took a deep, triple breath. My own muscles burned, begging for rest, throbbing with tension. But my head held only a cold, transparent void. Pure survival instinct, stripped of thought. I knew to get closer was to be torn to pieces by 6 arms, crushed under the weight of this biological anomaly. The arrow was wet with the Hydra's venom, black, oily bile that eats the very fabric of life, still holding the warmth of the swamp where I took it. The bowstring sliced my index finger to the bone, blood seeping under the nail, making the grip slick and dangerous. One exhale. The arrow tore through the air with the sound of old, heavy canvas being ripped apart. It pierced through all 3 of Geryon's bodies, stitching them together in a lethal knot, threading through lungs and hearts beating out of sync. The giant fell slowly, very slowly. I watched the fire die in his eyes, one by one from one head to the next, like someone snuffing candles in a vast empty hall. The sound of his carcasses hitting the earth punched the last of the air out of my own body. The emptiness after the impact was so deep I almost stopped feeling my own weight. There was only silence, broken by the lowing of the red herd. But the real hell is the labor. The cattle, thousands of hooves kicking up dust that clogs your nostrils and settles on your sweaty back in a gray crust. You walk for weeks, months, and your world narrows down to the smell of dung, the sickly sweet stench of livestock, and the endless mooing. In Italy, under a scorching sun that gave way to ice-cold nights, Cacus decided to test my patience. He stole the cows by their tails, naively hoping his cleverness would save him. But I heard the world differently. I felt the vibration of the mountain. When I tore open the entrance to his cave, my nails were ripped, my fingers bleeding, leaving red streaks on the gray stone. His throat under my palms felt thin like a reed. When the light in his eyes vanished, I simply tossed his body aside like a used rag. And then came Hera. Her rage had no form, only the buzzing of a million gadflies. The herd went mad. Redbacks scattered across the Thracian crags like sparks from a hammer strike. I gathered them, one by one. Dirt caked under my eyelids. Ice froze my beard during night crossings over the passes. I slept in the muck, covered by the lion's skin, which had long since stopped smelling like a beast and started smelling like me. My sweat, my blood, my despair. You're no longer a hero in golden armor. You're a hunted dog, dragging other beasts out of the thorny brush. The days blurred into one gray streak of pain in the knees and lower back. Every cow found was not a victory, but just another step in a long line toward a finale I was no longer waiting for. When I finally drove them to the gates of Mycenae, I was hollow. There wasn't a spot on me left unscarred, scars layered upon scars. Eurystheus trembled. He came out to meet me, smelling of perfumes that couldn't hide the stench of his weakness. He looked at the cattle, red as hardened lava, but he was afraid to look me in the face. In my eyes remained the reflection of Helios's golden cup and the black poisonous bile of the Lernaean Hydra. He slaughtered them all, ordered them sacrificed to the gods he feared more than he respected. The sacrificial smoke rose to the sky, thick, sweet, and nauseating. All my labor, all that pain, all those months in the Thracian mud turned to ash in a matter of hours. But I didn't care. Now, when I close my eyes, I don't see the cattle. I don't see Eurystheus. I feel the string cutting the skin on my finger again. I feel the cold of the gold beneath my feet and hear the ocean breathing under my boat. This isn't a story about victory. It's a story about how far a man can go when he has nothing left but his own will. I can still hear it, lowing somewhere in the dark. The last cow, the one I never found in the mountains. She is me, lost among the rocks, under the gaze of laughing gods. Breathe. Just breathe through the dust. Until the next time. Until the next blood. The pillars stand. They aren't made of stone. They are made of my memory. And they are heavier than the whole damn world.